It's meant for extremely large data volumes, trillions of vertices and edges, high performance database with the lowest TCO you'll get anywhere in the market. Let's talk about what graph databases are and why should anyone care about graph databases? Why and how should developers and architects think about this?
I'm going to give you the classic introduction to graphs, and I'm going to mention the famous Königsberg Bridges problem. And as opposed to other science, graph science or network science or whatever it is you want to call it, actually can be pinpointed at a precise point in time where there's pretty much universal consensus. That was the point in time where it actually started. So it was the 18th century, and there was this famous scientist and mathematician from Switzerland, Leonhard Euler, and he was working on this problem. And the problem was, how can you visit these specific parts of town which is through which a river runs, and there's certain bridges on the river. And so what he wanted to do was basically find an algorithm that would enable him to visit specific points in that city with spending as little effort as possible. So by trying to formulate that problem, he basically invented graph theory. And that's where everything started. From that point to today's graph databases, obviously there's some time and some other things that have elapsed. So when I talk about graph in general, I like to think of it in 4 different buckets or in a progression of sorts. So it starts with graph analytics, and which can help you solve that type of problem. And then from there, you move to graph databases. So there's many different ways of looking at that. The way I like to think about graph databases is that, well, it's a database that helps you model your problem as a graph. And so in addition to being able to do, to apply graph algorithms and do graph analytics, you're also able to do what you normally expect out of every database. You can basically do your create, read, update, and delete operations using a graph API. That's, as straightforward as it gets for me.